Just seeing this gold move towards the target here. Let's see if it can make that last little push. Yeah, I'm out of gold. It filled my offer, which was just a tick above this high. I actually recorded the trade so you can actually see the execution. And I'll just put that at the beginning of this session. Obviously important for you to know that I didn't shit myself when it broke these highs and stalled very briefly. That nearly took me out. Look at that fucking move down that we had after the room closed. I mean, look how close that got to my stop with a bearish engulfing as well. Right down through the key level I drew this morning with a close down through it. I mean, it was like, fuck me, it's all over at that point. It's curtains for this trade. And then suddenly it just reverses like this, like a last ditch attempt to take everybody out and maybe even make some people think that it's toppy here and they should go short, and then it just fucking skyrockets. It's just coming off my potential addition point, which obviously I'm not going to trade because we've now hit target. But if we had broken here and stalled before the highs and done a rounded retest, I'd have added more there. Look at these levels I'm calling. Look at these levels I'm calling, ledges. I like your perspective. Can't lie. You seem like the guy to never force a trade. I don't force anything. It's either there or it's not. But this is shaping up to be a really nice week. Let's see if we get anything for the rest of today. And something could potentially set up tomorrow as well. Man, look at that reaction off that level. I used to post on Forex Factory many, many years ago. And I spoke about a pattern in the market that I have traded a long, long time and that's been very profitable to me. And I called it the spider. I was actually on Forex Factory today trying to see if I could find it, and I couldn't find the original post I made, but I could find lots of people talking about the spider, and some of them as far back as 2011. I'm pretty sure I wrote the post around 2009, so it's something that I have been looking at for 15 years at least. And this is a great example of the spider. The spider is when you get pretty much equal highs and then you get higher lows coming into them, and that just precedes a violent breakout a lot of the time. Now again, there's nothing groundbreaking in there. I don't think anyone's going to be like, fucking hell, wow, this is incredible. But it was new to me when I was learning. there was nobody showing me this. I'd learnt from James 16 about the price action and how the market trades around levels and how to identify levels. And then the rest was just me, just observing the market, observing how it moves. So when I saw this pattern and I gave it the name the spider, I felt like I'd invented something, even though obviously I hadn't. It's as old as the fucking hills. But it's great when you get that feeling of, maybe it's been out there before me, but I found this for myself. Nobody's told me about it. And the reason I called it the spider is because I fucking hate spiders. They actually terrify me. I'm not scared of much, but I don't like big fucking spiders. Occasionally I get one in my office and I shit myself. So the reason I called it the spider is because when I see a spider, there's an initial jump back, like, oh shit, there's a spider. And then I almost always find myself taking 1 or 2 steps towards it to have a closer look at the little fucker. And then it often moves very, very quickly. They scuttle, don't they? So I then shit myself and jump back. And then it's like, oh, where is it? Fucking hell, it's behind the bookcase. And I'm moving forwards again to try and get another look at it. And then it scuttles and then I jump back. And then eventually I slam my fucking foot down on the thing and kill it. No, I don't kill animals. But it helps with the analogy if you think that I've just slammed a book on it or slammed my foot on it or something. Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. So this is the price action for you. It reaches a high and then the market backs off. Here, I've just seen the fucking spider and shat myself. Now I'm going in for a closer look. Then it scuttles and I shit myself and move away again. And then it runs behind the bookcase or wherever it goes. So I'm moving in for a closer look. And then it suddenly scuttles again and I shit myself. But basically, the more I become attuned to the spider and know where it is, the more confident I am in getting close to it. And then suddenly your foot goes down on it and that's the breakout. So the market makes a series of highs and price just keeps coming up to it, backing away and then making a higher low. If price is so bearish, why the fuck do we keep going back up to it and sitting just underneath it? Because the foot's about to come down. Shit's about to break out. I don't know if that is possibly the worst analogy anyone's ever given. But I don't like spiders and it does describe the price action, so you're just going to have to live with it. The spider was discovered in 2009 by Tom. People before 2009 called it a cockroach. I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's like when I first discovered the SFP. Honestly, hand on heart, I'd never heard anyone talk about breaks above and closes below and traders getting trapped and the market reverses. And one day I was going through a journal from one of my students and they were showing me their trades and they kept showing me, before they'd come across me, where they were getting caught on trades. And I was looking at their losing trades and I kept seeing that they were buying through highs, selling through lows and getting caught on the vast majority of the trades. And I was looking at what linked these trades and realized when this guy gets long, if it fails to close through this key hourly swing high, it reverses on him. And that's when I noticed the significance of the 60-minute close in relation to the level and in relation to how he was getting caught on all these trades. I called it the SFP because I just give everything a very simple name. Swing, failure, pattern. I mean, how fucking simple can you get? Anyway, the reason I'm telling you this is once I found it, I was so excited about it and I started trading it and I'm starting making money with it. And then there's just that little light bulb goes off in my head of, am I the first person to discover this? Or has someone found this before me? So I'm straight on Google. And the first person I found was a trader called Victor Sperandeo. He didn't call it SFP, obviously that was my name, but he talked about something relatively similar. And I was like, wow, someone found this before me. And again, that was way back in the day. So we're done with gold. We can get it off the screen because I've got no interest in this until maybe the end of day. Let's see. Does it close outside of these range highs or does it reverse and come back in the range? All I will tell you right now is if we do reverse today or if we SFP this high by the end of day, and we trade maybe down on Friday and we break this orange level, I will be short, and I will be short in a big fucking way down for the range lows. I have seen that happen many, many times where we break one side of the range and then go and steamroll through the other side of the range. But there's no expectation that will happen. This is a reaction-based trade. We get down through there, I'm in. But I'll say clearly now, I'm not expecting price to get down through there. I'm not thinking about this being a market that is just suddenly going to fall out of bed. But I know what I want if it occurs. Back to this dollar yen. I'm trying to keep you guys on track, by the way, with things that we've discussed in previous sessions, because it's so much easier for your learning process when you can review something and you can say, this is what he spoke about and this is actually what happened. I think that is very key. So we've spoken about dollar yen and we said, look, this looks somewhat bullish, but if you look at what I marked out this morning, I said wait for it to break through the highs, come back with a rounded retest. What's it done? It's wicked the highs and now it's making a new low of day. So it hasn't set up right. If it did break up through this extreme high though, this is quite a good example of how the risk reward dynamics change. So if you look at this at the moment as we outlined it with TradingView, it was a 1.1R. Now, let's say it just suddenly went parabolic up there in one straight candle. I'm likely going to move the bid there. It's the last high pre-break if we suddenly skyrocket up and out of here. But the stop would need to change to the low of the thrust candle that breaks that area. So again, the dynamics would change even further. Now, the fellow we spoke to this morning, well, looks like he's still okay. Is he in here? Yes, he's back in all caps. He says, surviving, cunt. He's long, he's surviving. I really hope this skyrockets, man. Do you like the little level that I drew in, though? Stopped it dead in its tracks. Shall I just start a service where I just draw levels and just post them? Anyway, let's get off the Kiwi. I can't spend any more time on that Kiwi, man. So let's quickly pull on Euro GBP. Why are we looking at Euro GBP of all markets? I'm keeping my eye on it because I was long. I was long here and I had a stop under here. So I'm noting in the back of my head, because this has all got to be journaled, that having taken that trade with no management, I would now be on side. I do track that going forward, so I'm always aware of it. You can see where I got out. It clearly respected that area. It clearly had difficulty going through it. But just in relation to where the original stop was and the original target, the trade is starting to work. So I will be watching that. There's a good level below market in Bund. I mentioned it this morning at 51s. There's one cause for concern about this level though, which when I was going over this morning I didn't fully account for, which is if you do get long off the 51s high with a stop underneath this thrust candle at 47s, you're basically stopping out into the point of control for the week. If you look at the market profile, let's bring that onto the screen here. I won't make it full screen, but I'll just put it on the side. Look at this developing week and the high volume node. So the VPOT coming in at 46s, which would literally be one tick behind your stop. So not the best place to stop out, but I will certainly be watching order flow at that area and looking for a possible entry into it because I think it's a cracking level. But it wouldn't matter if I sat on the bid anyway as opposed to waiting for price action, because you know what will fucking happen in Bund is it will trade my price and then 15 lots will hit the bid and I'll get no fill. This is one of the issues that you get, by the way, when you backtest. I'm not a great fan of backtesting markets for several reasons, and that's one of them. You just don't know where you're getting filled. You don't know whether you'll get fill on a trade. You don't know if you'd get slippage on a trade. Half the people that backtest don't account for the news, so they don't know what news was coming out. They just essentially backtest the charts, and then even if it works, the whole plan fucking changes when they go live. They say something like, oh, well, I'm not trading today because it's news, and it's like, well, you backtested an entire data set through news and it works, so why are you suddenly not trading it? You get lots of issues like that. I've always been a fan of forward testing. I'm not saying that's the right way to do things. It's just my way of doing things. It's a little bit like trading on demo. I've had this argument with so many people over the years whether you should start out learning what you're doing on demo And you can do. That's absolutely fine. You should certainly do it when you get a new platform. But, when it comes to actual trading, I can't do it. And again, if you can, fine. I just can't trade demo. I just don't take it seriously. I just think it's pointless, and I just want to have some money on the line. And there'll always be someone out there that will say, that's a shit attitude, you should never practice with real money when you don't know what you're doing. And I understand that argument, but the other side of the argument is there's no psychology involved when you're simply trading on demo with no attachment to it at all. The only time I've ever been on demo is when I've been forced to be by prop firms. When you initially start out, even if you take in statements, they usually want you on demo for the first week or so, just to, again, get used to the platform and just so they can briefly monitor your trading style, because they're not combing through your statements to see how you trade. They're looking at your statements to see, is this guy profitable and over how long? But they don't know whether you steam in and don't have any stops or anything like that. So usually it's a case of, let's just put this guy on demo for a week and see a little bit how he trades, and then, okay, if it looks good, let's get him live. And I think that's fine. Euro dollar. I'm getting several questions here. Why are you not interested in euro dollar? Well, why are you interested in euro dollar? That's the first question I'd ask. You're interested at 110.40. What, here? Okay, 110.40. Target 110.25. Stop at 110.50. Nah, man, you're going to do your ass on that. No, I don't know. You might get away with it. Yeah, I don't like it. Sorry to have to say that. It's not really selling it to me. What have we got? Nothing on the weekly that leaps out at me. Yesterday's candle does look somewhat bearish, I will agree, with that long wick and a close at a new low, but we've undone a lot of that, and that level isn't the greatest. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a last low pre-break. You've got the stop beyond the thrust candle. The kind of idea is right, and it's seeing some acceleration into it, and hell, it might work. It's just not enough of a no-brainer for me to think, wow, that's got to be hit. I am flipping around quite a lot, yes. Obviously, because it's a live day, these sessions aren't scripted, and I'm kind of taking the approach that you're sitting beside me and just watching how I engage during the day, what I'm thinking about. People get very obsessed with how often I trade. Last week was one trade, and that was due to family commitments, and this week it's been 4 trades, which, we're on Thursday, that averages out at 1 a day, but I wouldn't get hung up on how often I trade. I can tell you that there will be a trade every day on average, but I don't think you need to come into the market every day and say, I've got to find something today, and I don't think you want to be worrying or stressed out if you haven't seen anything for a couple of days, especially when you're on an hourly time frame. You wouldn't sit here probably on a 1-minute chart finding no trades for several days, but on an hourly, it can happen. Remember, I am weekly, daily, hourly in these trades I'm showing you. I never go lower than this hourly at all, unless I'm on the bund. I think it's also fair to say that there is a discretionary decision on your end whether you want to be in multiple things at the same time. So sometimes, let's say I'm in a swing trade and it's coming to a critical point in the trade, maybe something would set up in the bund coincidentally at the same time, and I'll probably just ignore it because I want to focus on one thing. And other people might think, no, I'll steam in, I can manage multiple positions. Again, you have to do you. That's really, really important. Sometimes so much time goes by without me having a trade in a particular market, but there's always action somewhere. Are you able to isolate one thing that moved you from doing your arse all the time to being profitable? Yes, my mentor. That is 100% what did it, because I had a very, very good read of the market, even though I say so myself, in the early days, and I just could not translate it into profit. I was constantly fucking the execution up, time and time again. I had so many problems. One of them, I was always trying to run everything because my size was so small. So the market would trade into an FTA and I'm like, oh, look at my fucking account balance and I've waited 2 days for a trade and I'm up fucking 30 quid. And I'm like, nah, I've got to run this. And so then suddenly P&L is making a decision on the trade when it really shouldn't be at all. I had so many issues like that. The break-even maneuver, wanting to have a risk-free trade and ease my mindset. Again, meaning it takes even longer for me to get profitable because so many of the trades would come back to break even and then go exactly where I thought they would and I wouldn't get back on them. So I still remember to this day, I don't know exactly when it was, but I was so frustrated with having a good read and not being able to make any fucking money that I had a meltdown where I was like, I can't do this. I'm so fucking tired of being able to read this market and can't make shit. And I sent a message to my mentor saying, I'm done. Thanks for all your help, but I'm fucking done with this shit. And as I've told you guys before, he just wrote me back a message and he said, well done for trying, but you're obviously not cut out to be a trader. And man, did that fucking fire me up. Because I realised I'm being a cunt. I'm sabotaging myself here. So suddenly from that moment, I just adopted a professional mindset when I'd been not shooting from the hip. I never shot from the hip, but when I was basically letting emotions and P&L influence me. And I just realised I can't do this anymore. I have to trade the market, not my P&L and not how I feel. Lots of little things that I'm able to do now that I couldn't do back in the day. I mean, a classic example of that is Euro GBP. You see here when I got caught. So when I took this long and it went offside, it started to reach to my stop. I offered it here to get out, which based on where I got in is a small loss. But I know that was the right thing to do, rather than try and scratch it fully at break even so I don't have to take a loss at all. Now again, you'll say, well, yeah, but you could have got break even, you didn't need to lose anything in there. But I know that's the right thing to do because many times I've gone, come on man, there's hardly any difference between this low and break even, and who wants to see a loss even if it's small in my trading account? So let's just fucking offer the long back to the market there, and then I'd miss it by a few pips and it would tank, and then I'm still not getting out because I'm like, oh fuck the trade up, okay, just keep the original stop in, and then boom, it's at your stop. So I feel like this little example is a good example of how I changed over the years to just go, I'm not being emotional here and I don't give a shit about my P&L. I don't care whether it means taking a small loss rather than no loss, just get the fuck out the way as soon as price tells me it's time to get out the way. And it might not seem like a lot, but that was a huge moment for me, and it only came because I realised that I wasn't being professional about this. Who's trying to basically haggle over a fucking pip so that you don't have to see a loss in your account? That's dumb, but it's what I would have done. Right, let's have a look round. What's happening here? I can't see a lot that I think is a no-brainer trade. I mean, people are asking me about the S&P. Is this a level? I mean, I'd always say, rather than just go level picking, where's the narrative behind this? What's it doing on the weekly that makes you think that's a great opportunity to get in? What's it doing on the daily that makes you think that's a great opportunity to get in? Now, is that a great point on the hourly? If you're going to place a stop, how easy is it, do you think, for the market to pick your stop off? Where's your target and why? There's a lot that goes into this. You've got to have a reason to believe this trade is going to work, and it has to go beyond there's a bit of a level here, so I think we're going to just react to it. Tom, please check out oil. It's all about oil. Okay, right, go on then. Mate, this better be good. I want to see something really fucking good here. What have we got in oil? 71.32. Let's mark that out. So that's where that comes in on the daily. Obviously it's not naked, it might be on the hourly, but you can see where that lies and the inflection point between previous support and resistance. Let's see what's up there then on the 60-minute chart for the October crude. You must mean this low, right? What's 71.32? Who drew that fucking level? Stevie Wonder? Mate, you mean this thing, don't you? Mate, I really hope you mean that. If you didn't mean that, you've badly done your ass. You've got to mean that. What do I think of that? I don't like this just beneath it. That's my first issue. I mean, if we got up into a level like that and we were past ATR on the day and considerably past ATR, yeah, on the face of it, that looks quite good. I do hate it, though, when you've got a clear inflection point just beneath where you're selling, if you are talking about this level. Do I trade altcoins? Mate, no one's trading coins. Fucking hell. BTC only, please. I mean, I had some positions back in the day in a few coins. I've liquidated them all now. I've got a very long-term position in BTC, but otherwise I'm just swing trading it. Do you take account for time of day? No. These days, everyone's going on about time. Time is key. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are time windows when the market's active. You don't expect price movement at 6 o'clock in Euro GBP like you expect it at 7 a.m. in the morning. I get that, but I've always just taken a trade when it sets up, and I am very regimented when it comes to tracking these things, tracking what markets I perform in, tracking the time that trades occur in those markets. Are there more profitable times than others? And there are definitely more profitable times than others, there's no doubt about that. But I found that there is no time window, at least for me, that's like, oh, you shouldn't place a trade here. Dollar Swissy, we're eyeing that up. That's a really nice example, by the way, of an extension of ATR into a level that even your fucking grandma could identify. Watch that going forward. I doubt it's going to hit it today, but could it tomorrow possibly? Might be sometime next week. When we started out in prop, they gave you a very basic grounding. I didn't go through it because I went in with, actual statements, but I sat with other grads, so I was friendly with the other grads, and I saw some of the education they were getting, and they were given a sheet, which I've probably still got somewhere on my PC, that explained what they needed to look for in their market. And one of the things on that sheet was, where are the higher time frame levels? I'm going to see if I can find that sheet while I'm here. I've just found a picture of me at Futex. Look at that really uncomfortable grin. Hi. I don't know how early this was. The guy I spoke about that was very good at calling the market but couldn't execute, he was just off here to the left of me. I brought my laptop in from home so I could get an extra screen. Let me see if I've got anything else on this PC. Oh, this must have been a little time after, because I seem to have more screens. Nav was over at the back. That's probably him there. See that little head right up there where my cursor is? That's where he sat. And yes, I was smoking. Yeah, you got me. Now I can't find this thing. I don't know where the fuck it's gone. You keep asking me for breakdancing photos. I'll give you one, and that's it. There you go. That's your breakdancing shot. Fucking hell, this was a long time ago, man. A long, long, long time ago. Don't let Ray Gun spoil breakdancing for you, because she was proper turd. Like, absolute embarrassment to the scene. Did you like that belt, did you? It was really heavy and it kept pulling my trousers down. It was from Diesel. Anyway, I've talked enough shit now. I can't even find what I set out for, so what a waste of time. Any tips on quitting smoking? Yes, just go fucking cold turkey. And when you need a cigarette, what you do is you close your eyes and you imagine that you're smoking when you're not, and you take a drag of air, so you're inhaling, and you imagine the smoke going into your lungs, but instead it's clean air, and then you blow it out. And you do that a few times and suddenly the craving goes. I have a belief, not grounded in science at all, that one of the reasons that we get addicted to the feeling of smoking calming us down is the fact that when you analyse what you're doing when you're smoking, you're doing almost like a controlled breathing exercise. You're breathing in, holding, breathing out, which is exactly what calms you down and de-stresses you. Anyway, that's how I quit. I thought, if I carry on doing this, I'm going to fucking die. But I kept doing it anyway, and then one day I just thought, I've had enough. And yeah, with my morning coffee, I'd go and sit in the garden, and I'd deep breathe like I was smoking. I'd actually even hold my fingers up to my mouth like I was smoking. The neighbours must have thought I was fucking insane. But it really worked. You can quit. I am sorry that this afternoon session has turned into absolute waffle. I just can't see anything that I want right now. You just don't know when things are going to set up. I've come in this morning with a trade. You know, it's taken until PPI for it to get to target, and now I'm back sidelined again. Do I still avoid certain months of the year? Yeah, July. You've got to have some time off, and July is historically a very bad period for me. So I just started taking every July off. And then one year I had the July off, and I had students just inundating me with, this has been the best month ever. And I was like, fair enough, I hadn't looked at the markets at all. So the next year rolled round, and I had that in the back of my mind, and I decided to trade the July, and it was actually all right. But I've got a long history behind me of not doing well in July, and you need a holiday, you need a break at some point. So yeah, July is going to be the period that I'm most likely going to take off. Keep our eye on these boons. Looks like we're going to potentially visit these 51s. That's the area I want to potentially look to engage. We'll see if we get down there. As I said earlier, we have got the developing weeks VPOC just one tick underneath this thrust candle, I believe. No, 2 ticks underneath it. Tom, do you only take LHPB or LLPB if it's naked? Yes. The level always has to be naked on my trigger time frame. So if I'm on a 5-minute time frame, it has to be naked on the 5-minute. If it's a swing trade, it has to be naked on the hourly. I don't know where the word naked came from, by the way. Untested is maybe a cleaner way of saying it. I didn't get that term from anywhere, I just pulled it out my arse. Yeah, I am always assessing and adding on the hourly closes. Gold is past the ATR. Can you run over a trade for it? No one's doing anything in that. Well, I'm certainly not. Just because it's past ATR, doesn't mean we're doing anything. You give me a fucking level, do you want to trade in that? We're at all-time highs, mate. I find it really interesting when lots of people are doing the same trade. It looks like here everybody's looking at shorting silver at 29.41. What, here? Mate, that's not naked. You see when it's crossed through it, it's crossed back above. Oh, 29.76. You're going up there, are you? That's a lot better. I'll tell you, you've got a problem there. If you're using a thrust candle stop, that really does look super fucking tight for silver. Why don't you take it And then if you get it right, we'll all congratulate you. And if you get it wrong, we'll call you a cunt. Because I'm not touching that. But in all seriousness here, watching all these markets over so many years, you get a feel for them that's very hard to explain, because what people want when they're learning is rules. I want a rule, Tom. You said when it goes past ATR, we can sell at a level. And then suddenly you throw a curveball and go, yeah, but silver's very thin, and when it really extends, it will likely take out a tight stop, even though you could take that same trade in another market. And then they're like, oh shit. So now it's getting confusing. But you have to try this out across the markets and you get your feel for it. I store so much knowledge up in my head that's just based on experience, having done this for so long across all these different markets. Radu, you're asking me about dollar Swiss, right? Would I get long? Where am I getting long that? Up here? On a break of these highs? Yes, I think it's okay. I tell you what I'd like to see there. I'd like to see that really just accelerate right through there and then buy a significant drop into it from above. I'm not just going to buy that if it kind of pops its head through and briefly rounds back. Who's going to roast me for getting out of gold so early? Fucking hell, look at the state of that, man. No, I have no regrets. I traded my plan. And I would have been about as fucking comfortable as the pool cleaner at Michael Barrymore's if I hadn't got out and I'd seen this candle here. So the guy that was talking about shorting euro dollar, did you take that trade? I'm hoping not, by the looks of things. Come on, own up. Let me know if you sold it. Oh, you cancelled it just before it got filled. What a ledge. Euro dollar. I did the SFP at the price of euro dollar 110.15. Is it correct? Oh, here? Well, I presume you used the 24 period ATR based stop and survived it. I would have said, and this is classic hindsight, but when it's accelerating down here, you could have just picked it up off this level here. The reaction between old lows and highs. Easy to say now because I didn't call it at the time. But no, I'll be honest with you, that's not an SFP I'd have any confidence in at all. And I'm saying that fully knowing that it's worked. But no. I certainly didn't trade it, and I don't even like it with fucking hindsight. That's okay though. I mean, look, you don't want to concern yourself too much with what I'm doing. You've got to find your own style. You've got to find what you're comfortable with. The one thing I'd like you all to take away from me is how I act with absolute conviction. And if I don't get what I want, I will just sit here. Do you know what? It's quite stressful when there's a lot of people watching you because there's pressure. You've got to find a trade. And I'm not succumbing to that. Because if it doesn't look good, I'm not fucking touching it. It's got to look like a great opportunity. It's got to be a no-brainer, and then I'm engaging. You've always got to remember that finding the no-brainer trade is key, but what's also extremely important is not doing anything that's shit in between those no-brainer trades, and that's where most people suffer. Because they can find a good trade and say, look, I believe there's real edge here, and I think this is a great opportunity, and I've waited for it. But then they take a handful of other trades in between them that are just absolute garbage. Okay, dollar yen looking more interesting for tomorrow. Yes, fully agree. There might be a trade there tomorrow. I've got my eye on it. Thinking about it already. I do want to see it break this high and then come back, and I'll try and execute at the last high pre-break. Obviously, I can't tell you the stop yet because I don't know if we're going to get a thrust candle through this area, but I like it. But I'll tell you what you really wanted here. For this to be an absolute A-grade setup, you really wanted to see this happen today. So you leave a long thrust. That is a killer setup when you've got inside day failure, a hammer, then a strong thrust candle to the upside, and you just want to buy the head of the hammer. It might do it before the end of day. I'd absolutely love that. No, I'm not hunting a short in the DAX at the moment, to answer that question. Looking at the DAX, it looks curiously like an inverse head and shoulders on the weekly chart. And if that's the case, we've come off the left shoulder. So yes, it was a bearish engulfing last week. I can see that it looks somewhat bearish. There is an inflection point here. The last low pre-break, we've popped above it and we're now back beneath it, but doesn't look outright bearish to me, with this thing kind of thrashing around here. And certainly on that higher time frame of the weekly, there's a good argument to say that this could actually be somewhat bullish based on the location of this low here. So again, it's not terrible if you shorted it there off that last low pre-break with a stop above the thrust. Is that an awful trade? No, I think it's awful, but it's not one for me. Yeah, Bund at 51. I'm not going to put a bid in blind at 51. I'm certainly going to watch it on a 5-minute for a possible reversal there. And I'll leave you with that, because I don't know if it will happen today, but it could well happen tomorrow when we're not on a live session. And I like that level. It's a little bit below the last high pre-break on the hourly chart, and I would have liked it a whole lot more if it was past ATR. But I certainly like it as it stands, looking for bullish price action here and playing it up to that low. Now we might create a new low after this, we might not see anything bullish down here, but that's definitely the area to get Bund on the screen and fucking watch it and ignore everything else, largely. So it's right here off the 51s, you know, at the moment trying to play it back to the 64s. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. Cheers, ledges.